I think for me moving forward, in reference to this war, if I find myself in conversations with people, I try to avoid it, but if it comes up in conversations, I'll have it. I try to avoid politics outside of, when I'm at my work, atmospheres and stuff like that. But, the first thing I'm going to ask somebody is like, have you been in the military? Have you ever served? Are your children signed up? Are you going to sign your children up? And then see what they answer. And then we can cross over to the war. Because it's absolutely ludicrous. How many people think they have the right to talk about this war and promote it and advocate for it when they're not on the front lines fighting. They're not sending their kids off. I mean, where's Barron and all? No, none of them. Absolutely none of them are sending their kids off. I stand with Candace. Stand back, Goyam. Let them do it. They're so passionate about this. Let's get the Ben Shapiros out there. Let's get the Stacys. Let's get all these, the Heathers. Let's get all these. You guys go fight it. Go fight it. You're so passionate about it. Get out there. This is your time to shine. Shine, baby, shine. It's ridiculous. But one thing that Nate said that I really enjoyed. So he was talking about him and his friend have two different perspectives when it comes to this war. His friend is pro-Israel, and his friend he's a veteran. He's fought in the war, and I respect that. He's fought in the war, so he's entitled to carry his own opinions. If you haven't fought in a war, it's extremely difficult to carry your own opinions when it comes to whether or not wars should and shouldn't be happening. You have never fought one. It just, it's one of those things, agree to disagree on that, but it's just too many people assume they know everything and they just don't. But anyways, he was saying, but him and his buddy share a complete opposite opinion, but they still have a friendship, even though they do not agree on that. And he's like, you can still be friends with people, even though you don't agree with people, even though they carry different opinions. Yeah, I would agree. You can be friends or carry. I mean, I have a couple girlfriends. When it comes to politics, we think differently. Now, she's slowly swaying and stuff like that, but everybody is. I mean, it's so evident and obvious what's happening. But at the end of the day, my friendship with her I'm not friends with her because of the opinions she carries for politics. I'm friends with her because of the soul she carries, because of the heart she carries, because how much we connect with each other in reference to just life in general, and her wisdom and her knowledge, and I'm grateful for her. It has nothing to do with politics. And I just feel like sometimes we just get so misconstrued on that, as well as, I really loved the fact that Candace said this, because I was a huge Trumper. I was Republican. I'm definitely not. I'm right in the schmiddle, liberal, whatever you want to call me. I don't care. But I've changed. And my thinking has changed. What I believe is right or wrong has changed. What I recognize what is happening versus what I allow them to tell me what's happening has changed. But when I was a Trumper, or when I was broken, or when I was unhealed, and when I was battling my addiction, or whatever, we can go down this list, I was still being a very truthful person. I just saw things differently. I felt things differently. But everything I said, everything I did was truthful. And it's the same way today. I see things differently. I learn. I grow. I start advocating. I'm eager to find out more, to learn the truth. Because I recognize, 423 as I say that, I recognize I live in a world that wants to keep the truth from you. So it's up to you to fight to learn it. They're not going to just willy-nilly give you the truth. They're doing everything they can to hide the truth. And so I think it's really important too to recognize with yourself and with others that you need to be patient, and you need to move with humility in reference that if somebody thought something 10 years ago, or was one way 10 years ago, or carried a different political view 10 years ago, but today it's different, you can't base them off 10 years ago. They've changed, they've learned, they've evolved, they've grown. That doesn't make them a bad person. And so I think so often enough, we get lost in comparing somebody to the way that they used to be. And I'm so glad that Candace said this when somebody said something about things that she said and this and that in the past. She's like, yeah, but I was honest. I was truthful. I've always been honest and truthful. Those were my viewpoints. But seeing as people have changed, the party has changed, Trump has changed, life has changed. I've been through more, this and that. Charlie Kirk's passing and the investigation and all this, things change. Things change. Your beliefs change. Your views on politics change based on the worldly events, based on what they do for you, what they don't do for you, if they're lying to you, if they're providing, there's just so many different factors in this. But it's like, well, because you said it 10 years ago, it must be so. No, absolutely not. I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago, and you shouldn't be neither. And so why people keep focusing on you 10 years ago, you 1 year ago, you 3 years ago, it's like, why are you still stuck in the past? Maybe if you quit living in the past, you'll be able to move up here in the future with me and quit worrying about the past. You got to let go of the past. You got to learn from the past. You got to evolve from the past in all facets of it. And I can see people that staying stuck on who I was in the past, because in the past, I was somebody that could be easily swayed. I was very naive. I was very gullible. I was very broken. I cared what people thought. I moved mountains for the exterior world and I let myself go. I moved mountains for the exterior world and I wasn't a good parent. I put my job, my ex-husband at the time and his children above my child. I mean, these are all things that I've had to heal through, and I take ownership in that. That's one thing I told my girlfriend at the beach that my biggest hurdle is. I have two biggest hurdles throughout this whole thing, and I'm going to share them with you. My biggest hurdle is forgiving myself for not being the parent that I should have been to my son from the get-go, because I was broken. Not to mention my upbringing wasn't the greatest, so I didn't really have anything to go on, but still. And allowing the relationships that I was in, because I really only had 2 men around him, really treat me like crap. And me not stand up for myself, and him see that. As well as me putting them on a pedestal before my son. And so these are all things I take ownership on, and it does nip you in the butt. That's why I'm so much an advocate for young people that have children, whether you're married or you're in relationships. Like, you don't think your kids are watching. They are. And you can't turn back the hands of time. You can't. And so it's important to recognize what you're here to do as a parent. You're here to teach them. You're here to advocate for them. You're here to protect them. You're not here to find your next dad. You're not here to find the picket fence. You're not here to do any of that crap. You're here to be a stable parent and lead by example. Second thing that's really hard for me to get over is wrapping my head around all the evil crap that people have done to me, that I know that they have. Whether they lie about it or not, I don't care. I know it's happened. And because I know it's happened, I struggle with it. Because I try to wrap my head around why so-and-so had the ability to do that. Why so-and-so went to that great lengths. Why so-and-so, like, I never would have thought in my wildest dreams that so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so didn't have, like, a sense of mere sensibility or humanity. I never would have guessed that. And so wrapping my head around it into the magnitude in which people have went to has been very hard for me, because it's so gross. I can go down to dates and conversations and names, and I will unpack it later on when believe me, it's not going anywhere outside my mind. It's still here. Unfortunately, I'm like, God, let me forget it. Let me forget it, man. And so it's one of those things, even from when I was a kid and being anyways, my father, you don't recognize the demons in the childhood traumas that your parents have that they decide